went on to Tulane, outstanding player there, part of a perfect football season in 1998. 12-0 team that won the Liberty Bowl, finished 7th in the nation. And of course, Tulane off last week, back in action this week. They will host Cincinnati Friday night. Games on ESPN2, American Conference play, and look forward to it. Please give a warm welcome to Jimmy Ordeneaux, Tulane University. Jimmy?
Thank you, Ken. You know, some of you know I'm a practicing lawyer here in the city. As my day job, I'm involved with the radio at night. I'm just glad that I don't ever run into something like that in the courtroom before I got to stand up and give my argument. I just sit down and say, Your Honor, just give them what they want. I don't have a shot. Here today to talk to you a little bit about Tulane. We had a bye week this week, so kind of a good time to sort of catch our breath and see where we stand. Obviously, a lot of people expected, more wins. I think more than anything, the schedule may not have been ideal, as they know about it. You know, when you have a very young team in key spots, kind of playing some front-loaded competition makes it a little tough. But you know, to their credit, these kids haven't quit at all. I think you're starting to see a team that's gelling into shape and the identity that Coach Johnson has built it. The last 2 games out, they're living in the backfield, making a ton of plays behind the line of scrimmage. Beat a UConn and South Central Florida. They lost to Central Florida. Really had a chance, I thought, to beat Central Florida, defending Fiesta Bowl champs at their place. Lost 20-13. I think we made something like 11 or 12 tackles behind the line of scrimmage. Created a bunch of turnovers. The woulda, coulda, shoulda, Coach Moore. But we feel like I do, that if our quarterback Tanner Lee from Jesuit was able to play that game. No offense to Nick Montana, who did a commendable job stepping in and doing what he could. But, there were 5 or 6 throws in that football game that if they're made, I think Tulane, beat Central Florida in Central Florida, which would have been a heck of an accomplishment. But, you can only look forward. So we're looking forward to a Cincinnati team. Right now, Coach talks about, running back runs and offensive line runs. His guy that's at Tulane right now, redshirt freshman Sherman Beatty, is kind of one of those special guys that now that the offensive line is able to get you to the second level from time to time, he can take it to the house anytime, and it's amazing. You're just watching some of the plays he makes. That when he gets to the second level, he's powerful enough that if you don't square him up as a defensive back, he can break it. He can break the tackle, and once he gets going, nobody catches him. But when you think about where Tulane was 2 years ago, 2012, when Coach Johnson showed up, you had, I think, 9 scholarship offensive linemen, 5 of which were true freshmen. You ran the ball for about 49 yards a game or something. You had Ryan Griffin throwing it all over the yard, so you kind of were able to move the ball, but no running game to speak of. Last year, I think they got it up to about 120, 130, something like that a game. Now this year, they're averaging about 180. I mean, you're seeing development where it counts in the trenches. Still 3 sophomore starters on the offensive line, but they're getting the job done. On the defensive front, Coach Johnson, he and the staff have that knack of sort of identifying guys that maybe aren't as the big name in headlights recruit that are nonetheless solid football players. I think you see number 77, Tanzel Smart, a sophomore. This is a guy that's probably going to play in the NFL as he matures and gets better. If he keeps on his path, I mean, obviously things can derail that. Sean Wilson out of South Blackman, nobody was after this kid really. He was an early commitment to Tulane. Jeff Curtis actually told me a little bit about him when he committed. Said, this guy absolutely never comes off the field. They bring the water out to him. He's on the field. He's on the kickoff, turn everything. Never left the field. Was sort of a player that you didn't know what position he played. Tulane's got him at defensive tackle. He's making plays by the line of scrimmage. So it's sort of like that forever. A very aggressive team. It's going to be fun. This Friday night is kind of like a perfect confluence of events. You have, you have a regarded Cincinnati team coming in with Tommy Tuberville. One of the 12 coaches with 140 wins active in the country right now. Preseason favorite to win our conference. They're coming in. It's an ESPN game. The students are finally getting behind Tulane. Students are finally getting involved. I mean, you pack in the student section. These kids are going to have a great time. Friday night lights and with the costumes and everything else going on. If you have kids, I'm doing it with my kids. They're going to be tailgating, and the tailgaters are going to have candy to pass out. So you can kind of do two things at once there. But looking at Cincinnati, both of us, you know, they're struggling defense. They had the best 2 games here lately. 12, they had 12. They let up 12 first downs and 14 first downs in the last 2 games against some pretty weak offenses. But before that, you know, they were just getting run through. Everybody was really crushing them. They're an offensive team. Gunnar Kiel, I think a lot of Tiger fans know Gunnar Kiel's name from recruiting and his famous last minute back out. And another guy, Munchie Legault, are the options at quarterback for them. Munchie's a 6-year guy from Carr. Going to be a game time decision. I don't expect Coach Tuberville's going to let us know who's playing until Saturday. But basically, Gunnar Kiel's got a rib injury. It is unknown whether that rib is in the chest area or not, but nonetheless, Gunnar has a rib injury, and it'll be questionable whether he can go. Munchie obviously is a tough player and somebody, you know, just a kind of athlete may give you fits. So Tulane's got his work cut out trying to slow down that offense on Friday. But you know, you look at the way the Green Wave defense has played here recently. You certainly have the horses to do it. You know, you get Tanner Lee back, you're going to have Sherman Beatty, you're going to have Lizedrick Thompson. I can't go without giving my comment a little bit of an acknowledgement. I mean, Lizedrick's been the man in there this year. Him and Beatty are quite the running back combination. So I'm free to answer any questions anybody might have. AJ? Questions for Jimmy?
Jimmy, about the availability of the stadium in the future for other football games like high school deals like J.P. Curtis putting this thing off. I think they part of that using you know anything about that?
You know, that's something that, no, I don't. I don't know the details of the issue there. You know, it's a shame. I know that when Tulane built the building, that's really what they wanted to do, was have a Curtis Hogg or Jesuit Rumble, that type of game, a select number of games in that stadium. My understanding is that it's something to do with the amount of rent that has to be charged because of the agreement with the folks next door in terms of the type of police presence and everything. You know, sort of all the extra costs that go into game day operations. I think that's what the issue is. To me, that sounds like something that can be worked out. You know, maybe that's just my nature. I think you can work out just about anything. But I do think that to me, it's not like a philosophical thing where they say, well, we don't want any high school games here. I think it's a cost issue that can be negotiated. Because again, even though we always talk about the neighbors, it really was a deal with the city of New Orleans, who sort of represented what the neighbors' interests were. So it's not like you got to go around and negotiate with each individual neighbor or anything like that, or an association even. You got to work something out with the city where you can figure out a way to make that a more financially manageable situation for everyone. Anyone else? But that's still a guess, then. So look, I could be completely off, but that's my understanding of the situation.
I think it would help in high schools.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's no doubt of Tulane from that perspective. All right. Thank you.